Hello. Are we live yet?
Yes, I think we are. Hold on. There we go.
Oh my goodness. This is it. The guys, this is a huge first show. What a groundbreaking moment this is for everyone. Let me introduce
Oh
myself.
no.
Oh my. Let me introduce Carla. We've got things figured out. So as you can tell, this is a very polished show. This is going to be a very refined thing. We're not flying by the seat of our pants. But let's start off with some introductions. Does that sound nice?
Yes.
Okay,
Hello.
that does sound nice. Anyways, first, thanks everyone for joining us today. We are still figuring out the right cadence, the right everything for this. But hi, I am the Redbeard Matt Thorup. I'll be one of your hosts for Sketchy Cup today. I'm joined, you guys are so lucky, by the world-renowned Carla Thorup, who's still C Mama.
I don't know how to change it.
So she's C Mama. She will hereby forever be known as C Mama.
Well, okay. Hi, Matt. Okay, we've got some people coming in, so we have some people who can see us, so that's good.
Oh, good.
Hi. Hello, everyone. I'm Carla Thorup. I've been married to this guy for 17 years, and I'm going to handle the tech side, which is going to be just fine.
How's it going, David? Good to see you. Thanks for coming.
I know we've got some live commenters, which is great. So thank you for coming, and we will. I will relay the messages when he teaches, so we can say hello.
Oh, so. David, those are the Cora, Merida, Ray. Those are like my favorite characters that I made. That's awesome. Thank you. Yeah. How's it going? And I'm going to say your name wrong, and I apologize.
Allele.
Allele. Okay, good. I'm dyslexic. My wife is very not. So welcome, Allele. Thanks for joining us. So this is Sketchy Cup. This is a new format that we're trying to do here. But first, we're going to be enjoying our Sketchy Cup. I want everyone to grab their favorite brews. We want to get cozy. We want this to be a little bit more intimate, a little bit more personal, which was the plan of why I have a live host.
Yes.
My microphone is falling. And the idea is just to bring a little bit more person-to-person contact. I don't want to be, looking everywhere. I wanted Carla to be able to have her inputs. She's a fantastic theologist, I would say, with her philosopher stone.
She loves Harry Potter.
She really loves Harry Potter. Maybe most of the stuff that we'll talk about is somehow Harry Potter related.
Okay, so Matt's a very good teacher, and we've seen that over the last 10 years. I'll just take it from here for a second.
Yeah, you take it out. You do this.
He's a great teacher, and today he's made us some brown sugar shaken espressos. Mine's a single shot, and Matt's is a double shot, because we've got just different systems. And everybody's starting a podcast, so why not us?
Why not us?
And I don't know if it's going to turn into just an audio podcast when it's such a visual field with art, and we've always worked together behind the scenes. For Matt's Redbeard tutorials has always been a joint effort.
Most of the marketing and planning and release all comes from Carla. She's really been the brains of the business since the beginning. I'm not the brains, obviously,
but you are the face.
I am the face and the mustache.
What a face.
Oh, what a face.
So that's very good. We're very excited about that. So we're just going to try this new thing because, one, Matt's a very good teacher, and he gets invited sometimes to teach at schools or classes, and he has 5-star reviews on his Gumroad tutorials. And unfortunately, those are kind of a lot of work to make up front. And although they can get us somewhere, it's very tricky to put in that much
work.
I
want to explain is there's definitely seasons of life. And, I love teaching. Something I've always really enjoyed doing. And I loved making the Gumroad videos. But when I started, it was just me, and it was just my wife and a tiny little baby. And that was it. There was not, and a full-time job. But there wasn't as much going on in our personal life. But now I have 4 kids who are very grown, and a full-time job, and I still love teaching, and I've tried several times to create more Gumroad videos, and I have half videos created, but just life kind of takes over, and I've always put a little bit more important into my life balance over work. So this is going to give us a little bit more freedom to have more direct contact with my students, and a little bit more free form of how I wanted to teach, how I wanted to teach art lessons that not only apply to 3D, but to 2D, and to what will help possibly you guys, maybe. I don't know. Hopefully.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's great. So this is an intro. We're going to start with a little banter, just Matt and I introducing ourselves right now, which we already are doing. And then we'll move to...
Ooh, do we do a thing that's like
a...
who are we? No, maybe not.
Okay. And then we'll say hello to people. So, look, so we already have some people here. Thank you for commenting. If you comment, I will try to respond in a comment, or he will respond live when he asks. If you have a question, all of this is live for a reason, because we actually want it to feel like we're interacting. So, hola, Felipe Herrera, hola, ¿cómo estás? Hablamos español, pero no hablamos perfectamente.
Hablamos perfectamente.
We don't speak perfectly. We don't speak perfectly, but we can translate very quickly.
And actually, we understand quite a bit more.
Yes, we do actually speak Spanish, which is a random skill that we happen to have. Alil, hello. David V, thank you for being such a big fan. We are too. We have all of the toys.
Thanks for coming.
All of the Disney Infinity toys are on the shelf as we sit here. So Matthias, thank you. Good evening from Berlin. Hello, Berlin. We've never been there, but maybe when we come, we can visit. And then Corinne is here.
Corinne,
thank you.
How's it going, Corinne? We love Corinne. Corinne is a fantastic 3D artist herself.
Cool.
I've known her for a long time. She's great. Thanks for joining us.
So I'm going to keep up with them, the live comments here as best we can. If you have a question, just put it here, and then I will ask him live. And we're gonna just figure this out together. We're
gonna try to stay on task. That's one thing that I always struggle with, and that's another thing that Carla's here is to help me stay focused, because I like my segues. But maybe segues are fun.
They can be, and they can also be very distracting. So we're gonna be great. So if you have anything, thank you, big fan of yours as well. Thank you, Corinne. So we've got some fans here, we've got some friends here. We hope to be just welcome to our home. Matt works from home full time. This is his office where he works his 9 to 5 every week. He works for Epic Games, and I work upstairs running our whole life. We have 4 kids. Our oldest is 13, and our youngest is 6, with 2 in the middle. They're all boys, and they're pretty cool.
Yeah, they're real cool.
They're cool kids.
Yeah,
so
they're cool kids.
Eventually maybe they'll make an appearance on here if it makes sense. But they're upstairs watching Avenger movies. So that's probably where they're going to stay for this short time.
At least for this first one. We're going to have enough distractions as it is. But anyway, should we jump into it? Is it time to jump into it?
Okay, so why did you choose connections as the first one?
So I wanted to bring... the first theme that I wanted to bring in is connection. Oh boy.
Hold on. Sorry.
Oh my.
Sorry. Gotta learn the buttons. There he goes.
So I wanted to talk about connection first, because I feel like that's one of the most important things about art is how are you connecting to your audience, but even more important, how are you connecting to your art yourself? You know, we live in a we live in a fantastic day and age, and also a very weird day and age. But art and expression is something that does connect us to each other. It helps us bring it, like, you know, what is connection to begin with? Like, what is that? And connection is something that can join 2 things together. And I think that's what we need more now than anything else, is actual real connection. And how do we connect to each other, to ourselves, to our art? I love art. I love creating. And so hopefully some of this rambling will help. I'm going to just check my notes real quick. But so first off, with connection, on how to connect a little bit better to your audience or to yourself, is number 1, what do you want your audience to know when you're creating something? And this is not necessarily the first thought. It is a thought that I have. But when I'm making something that's going to be presented to something, what is the message that I want to get across? What is the theme or the emotion that I want to get across? and how do I want that to impact the person or persons viewing my art. Second, other thing is why are you creating this piece of art? What is the purpose? How are you bringing that into yourself? How are you bringing yourself into your art, actually? There was a great, like, how do you make it relatable? Like, how do you make your art relate to your audience, or even just to yourself? There was a great story that I read about Tom Bancroft. He's one of the directors of Mulan. He animated, or I guess, yeah, Mulan, I believe. And he animated Mushu and was in China, and they were asking about the movie. And I think they were trying to get like some funny sound bites from him. And they asked him something of like, who do you find attractive? And he sat and he thought, is that he started listing all these celebrities in his head of like all these people. But he stopped and he responded, my wife. And it was that answer that like broke the tension in the room, because everyone felt that same relationship, that same connection of like, oh yeah, of course I love my wife, or like I have my spouse or my significant other. Like I feel that. So that's the kind of connection. You want to be authentic with your presentations. You want to be real. If you're not vulnerable, if you're just trying to give that, what I've seen, and this isn't always true, but I'm going to say it. There is a whole plethora right now of AI art out there. And it's beautiful. Some of it's really impressive. It's definitely, I can't do that in that amount of time, most of the stuff. But when you really look at it, I would say the majority of those pieces are lacking that human connection, that authenticity that comes with pouring yourself into your art. So how do you connect through that art? How do you show your authenticity in your art? And I would like to think that you have to kind of step back, and I'm going to talk more about character design, but character design, I think you can apply to every facet of art. I talked with an incredible environment artist at Epic Games, and I was talking to him about his process, about what he does. And he basically laid out the character fundamentals of like, well, it needs to have personality. It needs to have some story to it. It needs to have some sort of element that will make you want to ask a question. All these things that will help connect you to that environment, but that he treats the environment as a character. And I believe that that's the same for any piece of art. So when you're making a character, the first thing that I like to set before I'm even drawing anything, I like to say, okay, well, what is the message that I want to get across? Or what is the story that I'm trying to tell with this character? I'm going to bring up some quick slides of.
Okay, do you want your screen now?
Oh my, yes, I do.
I'm going to show a screen here.
So this is a character that I did a long time ago, but I like to use it for reference because it shows really good my thought process of overall, maybe I'm not even thinking about something right now. This one had a clear goal of like, I wanted to make a specific child ghost hunter. But I started drawing shapes. I tried to figure out personality, and I started thinking, okay, like what's the relatability? And I instantly go to my own interactions with my own kids.
Can you make that any darker, like the contrast of that screen? It's pretty bright. Just like the actual red on white is a little tricky to see. That's what I'm talking about. Your sketches are wonderful, but they are a little bit light.
I can. Oh my goodness.
Hold on. I'm just going to help the process.
This is...
your screen is, I can't see it, just black. Okay, hold on. It says it's just black.
Okay.
Thank you for telling us. Do you guys see the screen? Okay, thank you for telling us.
Again,
Hang on. We're still figuring this out.
We're still figuring this out.
Okay, they say they cannot see the screen, so.
Can't see. Oh, all good now, they're saying.
Okay.
Okay.
All good now. Okay, thank
So
you. Thank you. This is
now-
the kind of feedback we need. Perfect.
We'll just switch this to grayscale.
There we go. Thank you, Matt.
Yeah. Okay. So by having this idea of like this very rough idea that I wanted to do a kid ghost hunter was like the very, very far out. Now I'm bringing that in a little bit more of like, okay, so what's my own experience with my own kids? What are their personality types? What have I found interesting or funny? And so I started, drawing out different ideas of like, okay, what's the shape language? Because shape language is a way we tell stories without words. They all have different meanings, and I like to talk about shape language a lot. So squares, comes off a little bit more, unmovable, a little bit stubborn. Circular can come across a little bit more comical, a little bit more relaxed. Triangle obviously is a little bit more athletic, a little bit more aggressive. And then you can start combining those shapes of like circles and squares to start bringing out a little bit more different kinds of expressions. And so I kept developing that and started thinking, okay, well, as we're developing this, I can flesh out a kid. And with this, I started adding in a little bit more personality from the beginning, because I very much believe that as a character design, that they should be the same character no matter what costume they're in or what outfit they're in. So his personality does not necessarily relate to his clothes, which it can, it should, but from the very core, he should have his own personality in this stage. So in this stage, I'm starting to think, what is this kid thinking? What is he like? What does he dislike? What are his goals? I'm putting myself into this kid. So I'm starting to imagine that this is a fully fleshed out character. Yes, he's going to be a still. He really is. But I'm starting to add in elements of my own kids in here, where I'm adding in teeth gaps. I'm adding in crooked noses, crooked smiles. Nothing is in this is going to be fully straightforward. Things should be, what we find in nature is what we want to mimic in our art. And in nature, there's almost nothing that's perfectly symmetrical. And so keeping in that to bring a little bit more life into my characters is something that I'm thinking about. I'm also thinking about body language. I listened to another TED Talk a while ago that talked about, and this is, who knows if this is what the reality of this is. I can throw out fake percentages all the time. But he said that body language was about 90% of all communication. So if you take that into your art, what is your pose? What is your color theory? What is the emotion or expression on the face, the eyes, the hands? What is the body language communicating that you want to get across as well? And again, I'm thinking about this, like what are they doing? And so as I'm doing this, I'm now, okay, developing this character a little bit more. He's in this stage, I'm trying to convey, maybe he's a little goofy. Maybe he's a little adventurous. Maybe he's a little bit imaginative himself. He's a little bit rusticy. He's not super polished himself. I'm starting to think that, and like, okay, so now I'm ready to bring that into the next stage of character design, which is his costume or his outfit. Oh, spoiler alert. And so roughly I just start blocking out shapes, coming up with ideas. But in the back of my mind in all of this, I'm sticking with the personality that I've already developed for this character. I'm not going to have very rough shapes. I'm not going to have things that are going to to break this disconnect from this kid is a very personal, friendly, happy kid. I'm not going to do something that's going to send that message that he's aggressive or he's mean.
But how do you do that? Like, how do
But
you
how do I
not
do that?
send the message?
Right.
You talk about shape language a lot, but I guess as a layperson,
Ooh.
what kinds of specific things is why would you choose one costume or the next, or one piece of things? Why the chin shape? Why the ear shape? Like, tell me specifics on what you mean.
Okay, so we're going to go back to this. It's very specific. Here, we're going to open this in the Photoshop. You guys ever heard of the Photoshop?
You do have to know a lot of programs.
You do have to.
Good job.
Not really. I mean, you just need to know art, and the programs will follow. So, what this kid was to me, he was funny. So, I wanted to do a circular shape. He was kind of a silly kid. So, a circle is very soft, round edges, not hard at all. But I also wanted him to be a little adventurous. He's going to be a ghost hunter. So he also had to start adding in some of this language too, where he's a little bit more adventurous, a little bit more actiony. There are some sharp edges, but I'm going to be using this in conjunction with my circle shapes to keep him soft. So even his triangular shapes, like his nose is probably the most triangular, but it's still mixed with soft, round edges. Nothing on him is completely pointy. And that was the goal. Like his chin, his chin is a triangle, but it's mixed with soft edges to bring this in. His like shoulders and his body, his ears are big circles. His eyes are big circles. Everything about him is one kind of loose, long, soft triangle. Even his legs. These are all things that I'm thinking about. And this is exactly how I planned him out, was triangles mixed with soft shapes, because I wanted him to be adventurous, but also funny, curious, kind of silly.
Okay, besides circles and triangles, you said squares?
Ooh, squares. So he's not a square. I mean, he might be a square. Who knows?
He's hip to be square. Too hip to be square.
Too hip to be square.
Okay.
So a triangle's so when I look at a square, what are the feelings what do you think of when you see a square? Or a cube? This is for you.
For me, sorry, I was drinking. Steady, firm, stagnant.
Yeah,
right, because you can't like push a square.
Unmovable.
It's not rolling. It's not tipping like a triangle can.
Right. You can't roll this down. It's not going to go anywhere. You'll see a lot of father figures, bodyguards, strongmen will be big, basically big blocks. Like you look at the movie Monsters, Inc. Sully is one big square.
Okay.
Because he is like the foundation force in that movie. He is the sturdy, unwavering, safe protector.
Whereas literally Mike Wazowski
is a full circle, and the only thing he does in that movie is make people laugh. He doesn't scare not a single person. He is a full circle comic. He is the full comic relief, and they show that in every single part of his character design. So now when I'm bringing this into his shapes, gotta open this one. I'm starting to think about those core shapes. So I've got my triangles mixed with my circle. So how do I start doing this? And this is the first one that I did. And I started as I started adding in more sharp shapes, I was like, okay, what if he's like this crafty little kid and he makes this nice
cardboard
mask. But instantly he starts coming off a bit more aggressive, a bit scarier, a bit fiercer. And this was not hitting the mark. I like some of these things. I actually really liked some of this, but it was not sending the same message that I was envisioning to begin with. And then I started doing this one, kind of pulling back a little bit more. Okay, let's go further away from that and show his face. I wanted people to see his face. He's got this really big smile, these wonky teeth that also convey age. Part of this is storytelling right here is just
Do you
his
like
teeth.
that one? Because he said it was Mad Max style, which I agree.
Yeah, I actually love
Yeah,
this design.
super cool.
I really like it. It's not the character though.
It wasn't what you were going for.
It wasn't what I was going for.
Yeah.
It was too much. It was too much triangular, and it was less this. And I wanted my circle to still be
to soften it.
That was
Furiosa is awesome.
Furiosa is awesome,
but maybe not for this particular ghost hunter. I get that. Okay, but yeah, okay.
Excellent.
Cool.
Okay, so and then I go into this where I'm just doing only soft shapes. Like everything, he was going to have these soft winter clothes for some reason, big, soft, round things. And mostly he was just going to be big and soft all the way around.
Because he looks like he's about to go ski.
But yes, but now he's going too much this and not enough adventure. And I wanted him to still have the adventureness. So I started bringing in these things. I'm like, okay, well, what if I'm only using triangles, but mostly circles for this guy? And so I'm like, okay, well, circles, what kind of circular thing? He's going to be an inventor. And so everything that he invents, he finds around his house. And so I think I found all of this stuff in my kid's room at one point. The cut up water cup, the plastic water cup, the magnifying glass, all these things, the flashlight, his glasses are more rounded. His nose changed to be more rounded. See, like, as I'm doing this, things started to evolve with this character as I'm even bringing up his own character progression as I'm designing him. So everything about that was reinforcing, okay, how do I tell this story? What are the elements that are going to reinforce the emotions that I want and bring that in? And now let's jump to the ZBrush portion. This is going to be great.
And as the person who usually cleans out the nooks and crannies of their disgusting bedrooms, I have definitely seen all of those things and more, because children are disgusting. Children in a beautiful, generous, wonderful way. But boy, yikesies. Okay, are you ready, or do you need me to?
Oh my gosh.
You've got so many things up.
Sorry, I got to load this real quick.
Hold on.
My document crashed that had all my things open. We'll just
how do you decide what clothes and accessories your character will have? David V says.
David V. So that's a great question. And it really depends on, again, what are you trying to tell? Maybe I'll talk about some of the other characters that I made as well.
Are you ready to share your screen again or not quite?
Just give me 2 seconds.
Also, earlier, Eugenio, thank you for coming. Aguirre, do you think AI will replace us?
No. And so this is the point, and this is one of the reasons that I wanted to show this, is that the thing that's talked about is how fast and how great AI is. And it's an incredibly powerful tool, and I don't know if it's going anywhere, but I don't see it replacing human thought.
Yeah, and I actually think it will become more valuable to see a human handcraft something, because the lines will not always be straight. If you're crafting something that needs to be straight, humans, like, as best as we can, you can't make it fully straight. It's the same with writing. I dabble in writing, and AI is perfect. ChatGPT, our kids are using it in middle school and above. And I think it's similar to arts and writing, is that it's going to be here. It's helpful. Yeah. It can be a very helpful tool, but once again, it's just a tool. And so it is something that we can use to propel us, but it's not the end goal.
Yeah.
I think can be how we are approaching AI in our family of creatives, is that it can be a tool to bridge some of the gaps. Maybe you don't have the skills to get to where you want to, but so you need a stepping stool. It can be used, but to be the only outcome, if you see like a commercial that has strictly used AI in its art,
it lacks
humanity. It lacks depth. Same with if you read a ChatGPT email versus someone who maybe spelled something wrong, or someone that like made a silly joke at the end. It's so interesting. See, human made is connection and emotion.
Yeah,
JB. Yes.
absolutely. And
Yeah,
I think,
you're
and I think that like,
correct.
so someone was showing me a while ago of like, oh, well, I made 500 concepts for this character in like 10 minutes or whatever. And then I took one of these and I think, and it was cool. The way that they were using it was cool. It was using it in a different way, where they're like using their concepts and they choose of those 500 concepts, 20, and then they'd refine those 20 to be 5 more. And I was like, oh, this is cool. And then I stopped and I thought, I was like, wait a second. This is what I actually like about art. This is the part that I got into art, was this discovery. I want to make these discoveries myself, and whether or not AI is going to be around or not, this is still what I want in my process. There's parts of the art process that I don't love. The more technical stuff, laying out UVs or doing that kind of stuff, I don't love it, but it's part of the process. But the discovery, the actual like creation portion, I would never myself give over to AI, because that's what I find, that's where it gives me life.
Yeah. So you had a comment that said art still needs a soul and an element of unpredictability.
Absolutely. And that's what
Amen.
And that's where I find like, I don't think this is what I initially came up with when I was making this character. There's most of the time that I sit down, and one of the things I do is I go and I draw in real life places all the time, because I'm not talking to anyone. I hide in my hobbit hole, in my hobbit corner, I guess. But I rarely know what I'm going to draw before I sit down whenever I go down. Sometimes I draw people there. Sometimes I just start drawing shapes and things coming. But those are my favorite drawings. Those accidental discoveries turn into like my favorite pieces of work. And it's because I'm just letting my imagination run and things just happen. Like ideas just pop in. Universe provides.
Okay, they say they can't see your screen, so get off of it for a sec, because I think I'm trying to share it and it's black again. So I think there's something about when I remove it and then I re-add it that sometimes gets a little tricky. So we're going to try.
How's that?
I'm trying here.
You should see my a 3D
a 3D character is what we should see now. Let's see here.
Tricky tech. Let's see if we can. Still nothing.
Okay, so hold on. This is why we have to practice a few times. Will you refresh that for a sec?
Oh, yeah.
I think it's the connection with your screen.
Ooh, it might be, but it should be okay. Still.
What did you do last time? Thank you for your patience. Because it's...
Maybe I'll disconnect from mine and then reshare.
Yeah, I think that's probably what it is. It's like you need to do it sometimes.
Okay, and then you're in
the show. Add to stage. All right, refresh. Still not.
Hold on. Ooh, still not.
Hold on. Let me just switch this around for a sec. This is why we have to be flexible. Oh wait.
Oh, that's
is that showing? No, we have to make sure this.
Sorry, it's showing up on our end. Ooh, that's looking okay. I can see that.
Okay, hold on. I moved it.
I can't do this. That's right.
Yeah, AI can't make these kind of weird
mistakes. This is humanity right here. Oh, yeah.
It works now. Okay. Hopefully it's on.
So now that I've done kind of the heavy lifting. Now this can happen in 2D or 3D. I'm going to show a showcase of like how you can block out the same ideas in 3D in just a little bit. But anyways, now I'm reinforcing the same concepts. I'm still keeping the ideas of like round, soft triangular shapes. And now as I'm bringing this into 3D, where am I bringing all those elements together? So I'm very cognizant of his teeth. I love a good tooth on a character. I think the number one, I think this is going to be an unpopular opinion.
Is it?
I think the number one connection, one of the biggest what am I trying to say? One of the biggest things of body language, of communication with body language, is your mouth.
Well, yeah, because
people would say the eyes.
People would say the eyes are the soul, but I think it's the mouth, because you showed us that meme one time.
Oh, I showed a meme.
Okay, he did show us this meme one time to his kids about how important the mouth is. And I don't even know how to find it fast enough.
So it was a picture of a guy and he was smiling. He was missing a tooth. Just one of his front teeth. He was missing a tooth. And he's like, how important is a smile? You didn't even notice he was missing an eyebrow too.
Yeah.
A full eyebrow was gone. Like he had these big dark eyebrows and he's full on missing one, but you go straight to the mouth. There's something about the teeth and the mouth that have their own character and their own story with them. And so that was a big part of this character, to convey like, oh yeah, he's rambunctious. His teeth are not great. They're not pretty. He's growing. He'll most likely need braces. That was a huge thing. And then the eyes, we're going to start getting in that. I wonder if I fleshed out these eyes a little bit more. Oh, I did. Look at that. Oh my goodness. So we could talk about eyes and all the things that we can do to connect. So this is like polished stuff, but you don't need the polish to be able to connect your pieces. You just need that story. You need your ideas and how to connect. So I had some more characters up that I had worked on that kind of showcase different things. Like this is another triangular character, but again, I'm trying to sell personality and story with like my own ideas in here.
Go a little closer to her face.
Oh, good.
There you go.
So she's also triangles and circles. I like those shapes. Apparently that's like my jam.
Well, that's because you usually make friendly characters.
I do. I like friendly characters. This idea that an appealing character has to look. I think the idea of appeal mostly is misunderstood in the art community, where it's not actually something that looks pretty. It's something that reminds you of something. And I have met this lady in real life, not a witch. I mean, she might have been a witch.
We never know.
But someone who's overly friendly, a little creepy, and missing a bunch of teeth. But bringing in my own like personalities of what is she thinking? I want someone to see this and have a dialogue in their own head.
Okay, give us another example.
Okay, let's see here. This is a great one so this is one that I did a while ago. This is a different approach to doing it. Is I worked off a concept from Tom Booth, who's a fantastic concept artist. If you don't know him, look him up. He's honestly one of the coolest, nicest dudes, and his art is unreal how great it is. So he had this, and it was just a simple sketch like this. Ooh, I could even pull up the sketch. Look at this. This is what we're all about, is connection. We're doing real things.
So I did email out a handful of you who were on who like downloaded from Gumroad. If you had any sketches or 3D that you wanted to bring in, you could email us and he could review it. So we do have one today, and we still have a little bit of time. If you want to email anything over right now, we can get to it in about 15 minutes. So it's sketchycup@gmail.com.
We'll have time for about 3 submissions total. So many times as 3D artists, we were asked to translate a concept, and the best 3D artists that I know diagnose this concept before they even start going into it. So again, it goes back to that shape language that we talked about. This guy is mostly just circles, like ovals. We're going to go through this. Try to use a bigger, like his fingers are big ovals. There's very, very little things. And he's mixed with squares. He's a square mixed with soft lines. So he's like that dad figure. I'm starting to get into his head. What is this guy doing? What is he pointing at? Why is he pointing at? What is going through his head? So even before I start getting into this, I'm coming up with my own story. I'm using my imagination and my own discovery to fill in the blanks of what's going to happen next, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so this is a concept from Tom that you then translated into 3D.
Into 3D.
Correct?
So this is not,
So Corinne had a question. Do you always make 3D characters from your own drawings, or do you ever work from other people's concepts?
I do both all the time. I'm a lover of art. So, you know, I have dozens of unfinished, half-made concepts that I've modeled out from other artists just because I thought it was fun.
Yeah, I think that from your profession, you always work from someone's very specific concept and translate to 3D for Fortnite skins or for Disney Interactive skins. It was off of a talented concept artist first, and then you translate. But some of your sketches, you do yourself from start to finish. Yes. And then for one of his Scumroad courses, you actually worked off of the woman in the motorcycle, right? That was someone else's concept. So I think it's both. When he's doing it himself, it's like the whole process, but it's nice to be able to pull in other inspirations and not always have to come up with the first idea. Yeah. It's like another way to use tools. It's not AI tools. It's actually a person's tool. And make sure you credit and ask.
Yeah, always credit. I don't think you need to ask permission to just like work on it free form, but if you're posting it, you know, always ask permission.
Javelin. Americans would say javelin. Javelin. He said, "I'm proud of you, bud." That's what that guy's saying.
Yeah, this is like this dad figure, and so like I'm keeping those ideas when I come into this. Obviously, like this guy's got some weird shapes. His anatomy is not going to be perfect, but that's kind of the fun.
Yeah, that's what makes it.
But
fun.
Also secondary to what the message is. Like, how do I get this guy feeling quirky? How do I get him feel? So as you can see, his concept is just this. But to help sell this, whatever this was, I'm proud of you, bud. Or like, I turned it into like, how you doing? Like, I'm looking at you. Right. I ended up gesturing his whole body. And there was no point to it, really. It was just to help get that pose of how to get this pose here. So sometimes I'll go back and I'm like, okay, it's easier to feel how does he stand? How is he actually standing there? And I could have just had these legs straight mirrored, but you know, you're only seeing this from one position. I could have cheated a lot on this or ended up doing a lot of symmetry on this. But because I didn't, it brings out that life, that personality into him a little bit more, that realness, those mistakes you don't find in perfect art, but you find in humanity all the time.
Yeah, perfect's probably the wrong word because this is like perfect for being what it is.
Well, yeah. I mean,
yes. Okay. David, I'm going to get back to your question about the Fortnite skins in a second, but Dirtbee said, would you say that most characters we root for need some aspect of circle language or circles to convey their ability to change, which is the point of story usually?
Oh, that's a great, so there's a couple different ways of storytelling. There is like the hero's journey. And I would say that most of the hero's journey is those circles mixed with triangles where they are soft, yet the way that they progress becomes a little bit more aggressive and they become a little bit more sure of themselves. I think a great example of this is Onward. Do you remember the movie Onward?
Yes, we do. We have 4 boys and we just watched it last week and I was crying.
But you look at that, the main characters, the 2 main brothers in that, the younger brother and the older brother. The younger brother is on his hero's journey. He is shy, he's timid, he's unsure of himself, but his character design reflects that. He is rounded shapes, but he's also mixed with those triangles. He's got that long elongated nose. His build is a long triangle. His ears are pointy. And as he progresses in that movie, the more sure he gets. You see his stance kind of goes from down like this to more aggressive. You know, it becomes more, his whole personality becomes more triangular. And so I think you're absolutely right. So that's like one way. And then you have like the pure hero's journey, like, or the pure hero hero like Superman. And Superman will most likely just be
built the whole time. Because he starts as a hero, ends as a hero.
Isn't there for comedy relief. Yeah. Isn't there to, he's there as a safe figure. Maybe if anything, he's probably a triangle mixed with squares.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I guess when you look at different characters that maybe do not have, I don't know, is circles, shape language, like you remove circles and then you get the villains. Is that mostly it? Mm-hmm. It's kind of, yeah. In general, that might be too generic.
But then you look at like the opposite effect of like the villain's journey to hero, and you'll normally see like hard shapes soften. I think one of the great examples of that is Ratatouille with Ego, the food reviewer. He is sharp that entire movie. His whole body is one big triangle. His face is one big triangle. His nose, like his cheekbones are really sharp. But by the end of that movie, when he has his awakening and it's his re-love of food, his cheeks are a little bit fuller. He's more rounded in his posture. His whole demeanor becomes round by the end of that movie. That last scene, he's mostly round. He still has those sharp shapes, yes, but his whole body language changes to be a little bit more round.
Okay, so we're getting close on time. So,
okay, so
shape language. Why don't you go back to your kid character to just finish off some thoughts today?
How much time do we have left for our lesson?
Probably. We're kind of.
Well, I kind of wanted to talk about like
reviews and stuff.
Yeah. So I think we've talked about this. I actually kind of wanted to show how to really quickly block out an emotion or connection into this. So let's kind of jump around and just do a quick little demo. So oftentimes we build in especially in 3D, we're building in T-pose. I don't always think that's necessarily the best way to find the character, but let's say we want to convey some sort of emotion and some sort of connectivity. And if I'm going to do a character, and I'm just honestly, I haven't practiced this, so I apologize. But let's say this character is maybe a little bit down, a little bit depressed, a little, how do we convey some of those emotions with something very, very
okay? So simple. For anybody who's just watching and doesn't know what he's doing, this is a program called ZBrush. This is what you use when you are a 3D artist, and you are basically using a ball of clay, but on the computer. He's using his structure is a tablet with a stylus. And so he's using it. Yes, but you could keep going. I'm just kind of giving some context because I am not an artist and I do not actually totally understand all the techie stuff behind here. So if you two are like, wait, what is this? This is ZBrush.
Yeah, this is ZBrush. This is my own kind of UI that I've decorated. So I have the tools that I use very frequently over here. I have, changing materials and shapes, but I really like to use just simple shapes, especially for finding, personality. So really quick, and I hope this doesn't crash. It's not going to do what I want, huh? Of course.
Especially if it's streaming at my.
Oh, here we go. Boom. Oops.
And some of this technical stuff is why you would maybe want to take a full-length course if you actually want to know the tools he's using to get this. We're not going into any of the specifics necessarily right now as he's just demonstrating. So
for some reason, odor. Okay. Somehow this got pushed way off. Okay, now we should go. So I'm not really thinking too much except for emotion. If this guy's going to feel a little down, this will most likely be like a quick head, maybe do a quick.
You don't need to say quick so much.
Oh, sorry. So just a gesture for the head. What can I get away with just a little gesture? Maybe he needs a bit of a nose. So I'm not worried about too much other than, well, if I'm going to make him sad or if I'm going to convey an emotion, then that's the emotion that I want, is just soft shapes, softness, sadness. And then I will quickly use those same shapes, not quickly, steadily.
He always says quickly when it's like, quick to you, sir. This would take me ages. So we're just gonna remind him. It's fine.
I'm just blocking in like the main.
Hovland said, "What the hell? He already looks sad." Yeah, it's amazing how quickly that just came together, huh?
And I like to just be as rough in this stage as possible. I'm using shape language, so the stuff that I'm doing is very rounded. Emotion has a shape language too, and I'm going to use that same thing where it's going to be more down. Maybe a quick block in of his torso. I don't need much. Another quick block in of his pelvis. And I like to just kind of break things apart and cut things up. So I'm just working independently of these things. Gesture that's one of the reasons I draw a lot. Like, people ask me, what do you recommend for most 3D artists? I'm like, just draw. I think it's good to have that understanding of what this is, of what just shape languages, what style is, like how do you
a lot of sketches.
How do you convey a message really, really quickly? And that's the kind of
your red pencil sketches. What are those called? Figure drawing?
My my dumps, my morning dumps.
Yeah.
I guess I've never shared that with anyone publicly. But yeah, I do a bunch of red sketches. I do gesture sketches every day.
Gesture sketches is probably better than
they are
dump.
1 minute sketches, but I'll do about, depending on the day, 10 to 20 1 minute gesture sketches.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll do 5 gesture sketches and grab one of those and then start refining it a little bit more. But anyways, back to this. Is now this is really all I need to start conveying gesture. We're going to split this guy up. So what I have is 3 separate pieces. I have his torso, his head, and his pelvis. So now I want to start doing that thing where I don't want it to be symmetrical. I don't want it to be, this is all for the point of conveying a message. So I really like starting with, the torso, or actually I really like starting with the hips. If he's going to be down, he's probably a little bit tilted forward, maybe.
Which is interesting to watch you do this, because as a woman who has had 4 children and has had to do a lot of physical therapy to my entire body to recover from the 4 pregnancies and aftermath, it's interesting how much is stored in the hips. So I like hearing that you start with the pelvis, because boy, does that affect the whole body.
Back in the day when we were making Disney Infinity characters, we found that the whole pose revolves around the hips.
Okay.
When we did those characters, the first thing that we do is get that tilt, because that's going to say which tilts are going to be next. And that comes with gesture. That's a whole nother lesson of life.
Yeah.
But
okay, if you had 4 more minutes, what would you do to finish this?
So I'm just gonna
kind of energy
to put him down. Oh, whoops. Let's turn off symmetry here. And I'm just quickly like, he's probably not looking up. He's probably trying to not make eye contact. I would imagine there's probably a level of sadness and internal look that's making him feel weighed down. And so with just this, I can start now really roughing out the rest of his shape. So like, okay, Let's say he's got his arm. This one's going to be up. So this one, so looking at like his tilts, he's tilted this way and then he's tilted this way. So he's got two different tilts. The tilt that's up, I want that shoulder, this shoulder to be reaching up a little bit higher and this shoulder to be reaching down to convey that why he's tilting. So with that in mind, he's probably got a nice arm that's maybe up feeling him. And again, I'm not worrying about anatomy. I'm not even worrying about anything. This is like, how am I going to convey this? He's holding himself. He's thinking, his other arm's going to be close to him.
This is a 3D gesture sketch. Like this is what you do with your red pencil when you just sketch on paper, but this is your 3D version of it, correct?
Yeah. And so this is like a new thing that I started doing recently of just like, how can I just gesture a little bit more in 3D and get the same purposes across?
Because so often in 3D, you have to have such stiff characters for a long time while you do the actual, what are they called? The hexagon?
The polygons?
The polygons.
Yes. Okay.
Most of the time when I come in, it's like, I just see characters that are just like this, like teed out.
Yeah. So it's fine. Like for production, absolutely. You have to do T poses, but when you're just doing your like for funsies.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to find like what feels good. This one's probably a little bit more bent too. And it doesn't have to be much, but really, really quickly I can start conveying like a sense of doubt in this guy. And it doesn't have to be much. And then what I would do is just, okay, this is the ideas of what I wanted to convey. How can I further convey this with color,
because he's really circular. I mean, you can say that that's kind of soft shapes, but it's not happy soft. It's sad.
Yeah,
soft.
It's sad soft. They're not always, their shapes are not always one thing. Like triangular, I would say, is very heroic, but in the opposite is also very evil.
Yeah.
It can also come across as very hot triangular shapes. Like you look at fire and it's most likely triangular shapes.
Okay, I think that might be a good stopping point.
Okay, this is a good stopping point.
For shapes and like how quickly you can come something together, right?
Yes.
Okay, for things I hope to watch and get some inspiration to get back into ZBrush. Good, yeah. Hopper Sean, thanks.
Hey, thanks
we
Hopper.
are going to, this is all new.
Thanks for joining us, Hopper.
I know, hold on. I'm gonna add myself, remove this for 1 second. Okay, we don't know what we're doing.
We don't know what we're doing.
We are going to probably just have a YouTube channel, and then maybe the audio could be somewhere else, like a podcast style, but it doesn't make sense to be a visual artist.
This is such a visual
without the platform. So we will save this ideally on the YouTube channel for other people to watch, because it is impossible. Most of life is impossible to catch something live. It is beneficial if you can be here live to ask questions and actually have access, because really what we want is to have access to Matt, honestly.
Wow.
He gets asked sometimes to do stuff, but it's really tricky to get access when we know we're like busy with life and all the things. And Sunday morning doesn't work for a lot of people. We find ourselves having Sunday mornings are sometimes the only time we get to just do whatever Matt and Carla want to.
Yeah, it's very rarely that we get to sit down like this.
Because Monday through Fridays work and school and life, and then Saturdays are either maintenance of life or sports programs, and Sunday is our day now. Maybe not always was, but we are no longer maybe a church-going folk.
Oh, that's a whole episode in itself.
Yeah, it is. Anyway, so thanks. It was a freaking blast. Thank you. You're welcome, Haviland, and all things. Okay, so we're going to switch for 1 second to a sketch over or to something he's going to. We have a submission. Brad
sent in a submission.
Thank you
for an art review. So thank you so much.
And we do have one more from Eugenio. I'm going to send it to you so you can maybe do this because it's 3D. So do this one first, and then I'll get this one ready.
So I'm going to preface this review with how I preface all my reviews. I love doing reviews. People who I've been friends with a long time send me stuff. We send them stuff. Like, this is a good part of the community. It's also a part of connection. So thank you. It's also a very vulnerable place to put yourself in. So thank you again.
Remove this.
Also, the feedback that I have is my opinion only. So if you feel strongly about something, feel strongly about it. Like you are welcome to have your opinion on your art as well.
Okay, hold on. I think you need to do that thing where you
Ooh.
share again because it's not working. So
Okay.
hold on. We now know what we have to do, hopefully. So stop sharing and then share again. Okay, that's
Here, let's see.
Hold. I'm going to remove it and then I'm going to try again.
Okay. Hey, that's you.
Yeah, thanks. Okay. Brad is Dirt. Dirt B is Brad. Thanks. Okay, hold on. Cancel.
Here,
I'm
I'm
going to
gonna
reload that. Wait. Was that showing it or not?
No, it wasn't. Hold on. It's not showing it.
This is the elevator music while we figure it out. Hold on.
Do.
Okay, or Sunday evening if you're in France right now. Sunday evening. You
Yeah.
lucky son of a gun. You're in France.
Oh my gosh, the bread must be so good.
I bet you're having a great time over there. Okay.
Hey! Oh wait.
Wait, hold on.
Wait. What is going on?
Hold on. Just okay. Okay, while we figure this out for just a second, we're not going to be able to talk too much about Matt's real, like his actual profession in Fortnite and Epic because it's so
unfortunately
specific.
The
but
rules of Epic are very strict. Of like, I can say that I work on characters at Epic.
Yeah, that's about it.
And that I'm a 3D artist, but that's it. Ooh, from Brazil. Nice.
Why is it black? Why can't we get hold on. Nope, that's the stream. See, I can see it on my end. But he just said one of my favorite skins is mincemeat. And did you inspire to create it? This is lovely, creepy, and fun at the same time, which I think is a perfect example of shape language. Hold on. Go to here. I'm gonna add to stage and we're gonna try something for a sec.
Okay. So where is my mincemeat? Mincemeat was actually my first character that I made when I was on Fortnite. We were on a previous project that got shelved because Fortnite blew up and it was awesome. And so I got to come on a little later to the team. And mincemeat was awesome because it was just, I had never done anything like that before. So I wanted to bring in all the stuff. And the cool thing is that the concept wasn't super polished. It was, besides the overall gesture of what it was supposed to look like, they gave me a little bit more free range of like how I wanted to treat the pie crust and expressions and things like that. And it ended up being a lot of fun. So I worked with the concept artist quite a bit, but mostly it was like, what could I do and get away with?
Oh, wait, he said he can see it now.
We can see it.
Oh, hallelujah. Okay.
I wonder what's going on.
I don't know. We'll figure it out, but we get
there.
there.
We're going to polish this up. Don't you worry.
Oh, please bless it. Okay, hold on. Ooh. Sorry, I probably moved it too many times, so just give it a second to write it out. Okay, now it's back.
Now it's back.
Now it's back. Okay, hold on.
No, now it's black. And now it's up.
I think I did it a few different times.
Oh, now what? Okay.
Hold on.
Hold on. We're going to wait. We're going to wait.
Thank you.
We're on a little bit of delay. So we're about 7 seconds. It's black, but maybe now it's back up.
Okay. I think it's up.
Okay.
I think it's good. Hold.
Oh man, we're gonna refresh.
It was and then it wasn't. Okay.
Okay, it is up. Okay. It's up. Okay. We're not gonna touch anything.
Sorry.
Okay. So again, this is a very vulnerable spot. Thank you, Brad, for submitting. This is a great piece, but I have my own feedback in this. So I really like the personality that you're getting into this with adding in just this little bit of like the smile. The parts that are kind of breaking apart for me is maybe the overall flow of this. Is so when we're bringing things like a sideways smile, we want to work on, I guess I should choose
choose a different color so I can see it better.
Here, what if I do this? Can you still see
yes,
that?
Thank you. Hold. There it is.
Yeah. Okay. So when we're bringing up like a sideways smile, we want to mimic this kind of stuff throughout. We're gonna mimic this in the rest of the expression here. And that's what I think we're missing, is that a full body has flow to it from like the top of the head to the bottom of the head. And it normally kind of zigzags. If you look at a body, the way the muscles form, the way our posture is, we're very rarely one side, or slanting just one way or the other. We have this flow. And so what I'm really seeing is that we're kind of missing that flow. Though you're starting to add that personality, I want to bring in a little bit more flow to this. So if this is going to be up, then this eye should probably be down, and this should be squished a little bit. Maybe it doesn't even need to be like that, but that should be squished a little bit when you're having this eye. And then this eyebrow is going to be a little bit more up than this one, because the face has to kind of squish in this way. So this side can stretch. So this eye will be fully open, and this one will be a little bit more squished. And then you bring that flow in, so you have that juxtaposition, and you start bringing that down with that head tilt. You keep that tilt of this shoulder up a little bit high, and then it just kind of flows down, right? So that's one part. But let's start talking about how we can bring this and make this a little bit more connected. Because it's a very beautiful fox. He looks really cute, but I think we're missing out on what are the things that's going to tell the story about what this is a little bit more. And so, we maybe want to do some things to help showcase the body of this guy. Is he a pup? Is he a full-grown fox? Right now, he's probably looking more like a pup, because he's a little bit wider, a little bit bigger. So I would take off the tail for now. I would worry about his overall focal points, because that's what we want, is focal points when we're conveying art. Our focal point will probably still be the head, but I don't want to detract from that. And I want to make sure that anatomy is feeling right, and we're not having too many breaks, because we have like a break here, and that's a nice long straight, and then a long straight here. But we want to maybe start adding in things that will connect you to this, right? His face. We want you to draw the attention up. So get rid of that tail again real quick. So if this is his face, maybe bring his face a little bit more to the side, so we're getting a little bit more of that mischievous look, if we're going to bring that. And then if I'm tilting that head this way, here going to be his eye, his muzzle will probably come up to this side now. So I'm starting to change that shape just a little bit. I'm going to have that squish here. This eye might be a little bit covered. And then my eyes, again, this is so one way of communicating is your face. The second one's going to be your eyes. I want to make sure that I have a lot of connection. So he is either making some deep contact with the screen, with the viewer, or his interest is fixated on something else. So those are the two things that you want. You want to have that life in those eyes. For this, let's say he's just looking at us. So I'm going to make sure that he's looking more at us, and then using that same squash and stretch to bring that up. So
you switch sides. Now you're making squash that way.
Yeah. And this is, again, just how I saw it with the pose. But again, doesn't have to be anything. And then I want, the one thing that I'm seeing is maybe this is missing a little bit of that shape language. I mean, he's kind of square, but it's not necessarily saying the same message of friendly fox.
Mm-hmm.
If I think of a fox, I think he's cunning, he's clever, but he's also probably a little silly he's a pup. So I'd probably combine these two shapes here, which you have a little bit of that, but just to kind of reinforce it by like, okay, let's flesh out those cheeks a little bit more. Break up this anatomy on the face so it's not so wide. And then with the ears, with animals, their ears are probably their third most expression thing. So either he's going to be like perked up, maybe he's got one ear that's perked up because this is the stretched side, and then this is the compressed side, so it's going to be a lot more down. Right? So I'm starting to bring in these ideas of who this character is. So he's a little bit quirky, just adding in a little bit more personality. And as I'm doing this, I'm starting to imagine, what is this guy imagining? And, we could talk about anatomy on this and fixing that kind of stuff, but that's all secondary to what is your message? Like, what are you trying to say with this fox here? So, maybe, so his head is this way, and so his shoulders should be this way. So he has that, like, that same flow. We want that flow from the top of the head all the way down, from the expression to the toes. So we'll put this up a little bit higher. Maybe his arms are now straight down here. And this one is a little bit lower, and this one's a little bit more bent, so he can actually have that flow. And then, start bringing in those round shapes.
He said that this was a kid's t-shirt design idea he had. It's really cute.
Yeah, it's really cute. Yeah, I think overall, I really like the design. I think you're getting close. It's just missing that message. Like, what do you want people to know about this fox, even for like the kid shirt? Of like, is he clever? Is he naughty? Is he fun? Is he like what? Like, this shirt in the end will send a message about what
it almost makes me think
itself.
That like a fox shirt, or what's that fox's name?
Right. And so, like, as he's like slowly developing this, I can now see, okay, my focal point, as we started talking about, is now more up here, and all these lines are really soft and not getting too complicated.
Yeah.
Right.
We got to switch to a new one soon. So that's
do we have another one?
Yeah. I just emailed it to you.
Oh.
But yes, well done.
Anyways,
thank you for saying
great. And then I would just maybe bring that tail off to the side, so it's not muddying up the body. It was kind of coming across, and this area was getting kind of lost because it was all the same color and shape. So just bringing that silhouette out a little bit more. Okay, last one.
But cute fox to start.
Great fox.
And take it for what you will. That's the thing about advice. You don't have to take it.
Okay, we got another one?
Yes. I send it to your email. And then, do you prefer working on tight concepts where everything is resolved, or do you enjoy working on early concepts so you can make decisions for yourself?
I love working on loose concepts, just because even tight concepts are never perfect. Because of the 2D nature, that front view or that back view, or even a tight front view, will never have the full detail that you need. So whether it's tight or loose, it's just how big of a box of flexibility do you have. With a loose concept, you have a big box of flexibility. With a tighter concept, it's a smaller box, but you still have that looseness because you just can't solve everything in 2D.
Okay.
Okay.
Are you ready for this one?
Yeah.
You got it.
So this is a concept. So who is this from? This is from
Eugenio.
Okay, perfect. So this is really cool. So this is the concept that came over. And before we get into the 3D aspect of this, I wanted to talk about the just kind of breaking down this concept, because he's got a great shape language. I really like this concept. It's really cool. So his shape language, I would say, is that triangles mixed with squares. He's very tight up here. His muscles are very tight. We're seeing a lot of this triangular. I wouldn't even say he's a square. I think he's just fully aggressive, right? All of his edges are very strong, maybe a bit square. He's feeling like kind of this solid rock. And then getting into his head, like I'm starting to think about what is his personality? Who is he from? Where is his background from? Looking at this concept, he's probably maybe Japanese, maybe I could even see like Filipino, possibly. So I want to start bringing that in to like my mind before I start jumping into the 3D. Let's see here. Is that all the images I downloaded?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's 3.
No, I think I missed this one actually. The front view. Okay. Put that back up. We're just going to dock this over to the side and kind of keep it present. Keep this in the back of my mind. Sometimes I don't love looking at like the highly detailed sketches, as I don't necessarily know what's always important, but it does let me know of like the silhouette breaks and things to start paying attention to. So overall, I think you've got a really nice block-in model. I think you're nearly there. We're missing a little bit of that shape language that's found in that concept of you have some anatomy there, but it's all feeling kind of the same groundness. And we want to start breaking up that to showcase this kind of edginess that this character has, where maybe his shoulder has a peak and then it comes down. Actually, I'm going to do this real quick. So you put a peak on his shoulder where his muscle is going to be, and it's a soft transition because it's, but this guy's probably most likely going to be very stylized. And then instead of going straight in to another curve, that bicep is most likely flatter than you think it is. And then maybe a slight hint of that tricep in the back. Kind of hard to see from this view, so I wouldn't even necessarily worry about it. But I'd really focus on what is that shape language from the concept and how do I start bringing that in? Because as soon as you start like moving to things in the back, really hit some of these shapes a little bit more. Feeling a little thick in some areas. So like the idea is like this guy is strong, but he's also probably quick. We want to make sure that we're taking off the bulk from him. He's feeling kind of bulky in areas. Maybe his thighs are feeling a little bit bulky, when overall I would say he's more sharp and quick. So bringing this down and really kind of cutting into some of these things, but I'm mostly using straight lines. And this is how I would block things in. I would block this character in as angular as possible to start getting that. And then, we're worrying about also the silhouette breaks here in our concept are really, really big. And this is why I like looking at things small, is you have these big breaks of the sleeves, of the pockets, of, the wrist wraps. And what I'm seeing is we're kind of missing those silhouette pops. I know maybe that one's just hidden. And really focusing on where some of this material is coming, because as this comes up and then it kind of goes back, maybe it should actually have a little bit of angular to it. So you're seeing the back, which is helping frame the head.
So it's almost like taking some areas and making them less, and other areas and making them more.
Right. Yeah. Just finding that balance and really like if you have the idea of who this character is, you'll start to feel what doesn't feel right. And I would say overall, like it's pretty good, but his anatomy is feeling a bit too chunky for how quick this concept looks, how fast he looks. In his head, I really like the stylization that you have with his cheekbones and stuff. Maybe a little bit too tight here. But again, as I'm looking at the concept, and again, I could look at the concept at this stage where it's small and start making refinements on this.
Because would you say that is a tight concept or a loose concept?
I would say that this is probably a pretty tight concept for what it is.
Because it's already so pretty specific.
Every aspect of him is pretty fleshed out. Like his gloves are pretty loose. His shoes are actually really well defined. Maybe some of the details on his coat and stuff are a little bit loose, but overall, it's a pretty tight concept.
But translating that from 2D to 3D is what like the goal is, right? Is to take that and then do it. Because
and like, how do you find making sure that you're capturing like this emotion? This is like he's got a really good passion to his eyes, and if we're worrying about that, then I really want to exaggerate that shape that he has instead of kind of this clam shape that we have, or the half clam shape. I'm going to push that a little bit more and really almost not have any eyelash here. It's just full eyelid and then really strong across. So this is starting to convey his emotion already, because this is really, really strong.
Yeah, because now you're doing a sketch over, but you would do that same thing with the 3D tool to try to make the actual clay ball on the computer look like that, correct?
And yes, and I do sketch overs of my block-ins all the time.
Oh, okay.
So I'll get to a certain phase, I'll take screenshots of it, bring it into myself, bring up my concept, and I'm like, okay, so this is, he's got this very, very triangular, sharp, hard nose. But if you look at it, it's really kind of broken down into like a reverse. What is that shape? Pyramid,
obelisk.
An obelisk? Is that what it is? Yeah, like an obelisk.
The Washington Monument upside down.
Yes, the Washington Monument, and really hit those shapes, and then that will help me to pull back, because that maybe I don't need this definition here. If this is really strong, the bridge of my nose is really strong, maybe I can start fading out some of these details. Like if I have his eyes really strong, maybe I can lessen this a little bit more. But the idea is that I am really focusing in on like what shapes in the concept are they paying attention to.
He said that's great feedback to try to draw over it. So
yeah, it's just kind of finding like, okay, so this is coming a little bit too tight. Maybe this right here is coming a little bit too tight.
Yeah.
So but the concept is showing really, really strong angles, and I want to hit that. So maybe push that and then soften this here. Really hit that jawline as it kind of gets soft and almost lost. Really push those angles, that you are kind of defining. You let that cheekbone break that silhouette on the third 3/4 view. You take those ears that maybe look a little soft in the details, and you push that angularity that this character is saying, because like all of these angles are reinforcing that this guy is athletic, that he's quick, that he's strong, like all these things. And though I like this sculpt, I think we're maybe losing the character, like the idea of what this character is, because we're adding in too much of our own understanding, our own anatomy. Like I want to add anatomy sometimes, when sometimes the right thing is to pull back. It's like, what is my message? What is this guy thinking? Kind of thing.
Because we don't actually need him to look so human. We need him to look like a cool, badass cartoon.
Right. He doesn't need to be anatomically correct. He needs to be that fast, aggressive character.
Okay, cool.
Right?
Well, we hope that was helpful. We only have a few minutes here. We're gonna keep us on time. That's my job.
I think that's what the job is for.
We're going to do this. Okay. We didn't have a huge crowd today, but that's kind of okay with us, because we're just excited for every single person who does join us.
Hey, I actually loved all the questions and all the
Yes,
comments
great.
in this. This was exactly what I'm looking for. This is the kind of connection that I'm looking for. So thank you for submitting your art to be reviewed. Thank you for your questions and for being here. Hopefully we'll be more polished a little bit
I
as
know,
we
we're
go.
trying a few things.
No promises, but we're working on it.
Okay, so as a follow-up, and then would you overlay the sketch over the ZBrush file to make sure you're hitting all the landmarks?
Sometimes I do. It kind of depends. I've gotten used to just, as I'm drawing over, I kind of just keep that sketch over, and then I'll like take it and turn off the layers. I think I didn't add a layer on this, so.
Anyway, I as an observer,
and just like calling out like what are the big differences on this is eyes, and so I wouldn't necessarily bring this sketch over into ZBrush, but I would keep it up to like, okay, I need to
I would say that when I walk in and see him working, he has 2 screens and he has the references and everything on this side, and then his screen has this. So they can't see your screen anymore, so you don't need to do that.
Oh, that's okay. I'm just waving my hand.
Yeah, it's fine. Okay, if there was any issues with sound, with connection, I know we had the black screen sharing screen. We're gonna get a little bit easier or better at that, which is great to know. If you have any feedback for actual tech or sound or look, please let us know, because we're just trying this. We will be doing it on YouTube for now.
It's an ever-evolving platform. Right now, it'll probably be mostly on YouTube.
Follow Sketchy Cup on Instagram. Right now, that's where we're trying to start. We've never used TikTok.
We've never used TikTok.
We never got into it.
I don't even have it.
I don't even have. Anyway, so we're not sure if we'll be on TikTok. We have no idea. This is just for fun. Matt and I like to hang out, and this is one way we can do it. I think that we get to check with him. Okay, audio is great. That's good. So we're gonna just maybe start this now. We can only do it twice a month because we have 4 children and everything's hard, but we're doing this for fun right now. Maybe there will be an opportunity for you to tip later for money, but we also don't want the pressure of money sometimes.
So one of the reasons I wanted to do this specific way is because I don't like the subscription model where you have to be all in.
But we understand that that's like the model of what's happening right now.
Yeah, I understand that.
Anyway, this is all like off the book stuff. We'll figure it out and we'll see. But thank you. Hopefully it was great. I'm Carla. That's Matt.
I'm Matt. Thanks for joining us.
And we're going to just keep going. We're going to do it. An hour and a half is where we're capping it. Some will be a little shorter.
When's the next workshop?
Oh, the next workshop is we are doing it in March 9th is the next one. It is the daylight savings for those of us in the United States, which is annoying. But March 9th is the next time we will be live. Until then, you can always email us, sketchycup@gmail.com. Follow us on Instagram for more, and we can start taking submissions. You can ask us questions, and we're going to just do this for fun right now, and then we'll see where we go. But hopefully it's inspirational to get back to art, and also maybe to talk about anything else.
Yeah. I think that's it. We're going to just open this up. It'll be an ever-changing thing. Sometimes it'll be more lecture. Sometimes it'll be more demo.
But we'll probably get a little bit more specific about segments or like time, certain things. So,
and sometimes it just might be about conspiracy theories and ghosts. So
or religion. No, just kidding. We're not going to talk about religion.
We should though. Oh man.
I mean,
we've got some stuff to say.
We do, but it's fine. Anywho, I think that's all. Yeah, feel good. Anything else coming in? Thank you. And aliens.
Yes.
Actually, we do love it. We did go to Roswell last year, and it was cool.
It was like coming home.
We made tinfoil hats with the children in the car.
We did. We stopped at the UFO McDonald's.
The UFO and the UFO museum.
We got abducted. You don't remember because of lost time. But I remember. We all got abducted. It was cool.
So, yep. So we're just going to try to keep this fun and also informative because it's hard to, there's a lot of people.
We're just trying to bring some more entertainment and joy into life. And hopefully you guys can be a part of that.
This is what we want.
Add in what we want. That's what it is.
There's a lot of stuff going on in the whole complexity of this space. So, anywho, sure. like ya.
I know. Thanks for being here. Thanks for helping us fix our stream as well.
Yeah, great job.
Yeah.
So we're going to end it, and thank you, and
See you next time.
And see you next time. Good night, good morning, goodbye.
Have a good cup.
Have a good cup. Goodbye.
We'll see you.
And out.